Hello, everybody. How is it going? First test, let me make sure I can switch the camera. I can. Great. Perfect. Okay. So, um, the basic concept I will be going over is also in my book, where I go into a lot of extra detail. Um, so I'm not gonna get too deep into the super details. Um, but I will give you guys the basic general concept that I feel like either gets misconstrued a lot when people first learn how to like hold the stick. So the first thing is that if you were to just let your hand just dangle by itself, and without without ever like tensing your fingers or anything like that, if you just lift your hand from your wrist like that, your fingers will naturally close by themselves. You don't have to do anything at all. They just do that by themselves. Um, so this comes in handy. Just doing this comes in handy if you want to start learning the push pull motion, because if you can just focus on the wrist only and let the fingers do whatever they want, then as you can see, you push out and the stick, goes there, and then it pulls it back in naturally. So having that motion be, more accessible to you makes that a lot easier. But we're not talking about that. Okay, so yeah, if I were to just do that, then what you see is a natural connection with the thumb and first finger, and then the other fingers are just wherever. Cool. Again, same thing. Now, depending on your hand, the thumb may land here, it may land here, it may land here. It also depends on how high you lift the wrist, because if you only go part way, as you can see, there's perfect amount of room for the stick. But if you go all the way like that, then it's completely closed. So like what I would say is playing position in my book, you might have little to no space to a lot of space there, and then as you get further more relaxed, you have tons of space. Cool. Now, after you do that, what I usually do to people is just put the stick, which I'm I have the other hand doing that. So I would basically they put the stick in there. Cool. And someone's texting me. Okay. All right. So I would do that first. I would just put the stick there with and say don't do anything. Cool. And then it would just sit on the thumb. Next thing I tell them to do is the only thing you're gonna do is move the thumb on top. Cool. So that's how I get people to hold the stick first. Then when they get like they're like, oh okay. And what normally happens is that I was supposed to use that computer instead. But yeah. So what happens is that when they start using the wrist, the fingers, because they're still relaxed, they just conform to what the stick wants, instead of like you forcing it to be something. Now, what I was just doing is some other variations of doing this, or replicating that thing if the person or the student cannot figure out this loose thing. Other thing I have people do is just make a fist, right? And like a relaxed fist. So you make a fist and then you relax. So you have that open space. Then you just put the stick in. Cool. You see that? You just put the stick in. Then, this is the weird part. Inside, you have an option. So you're going to have to put, I say again, you're going to put the thumb on top, right? The next step is to push the thumb in so that it's right. You try to pinch your first finger. Now, when you do that, one of two things is going to happen. Either, if you look at the back, either the pinky is going to stay basically where it is when they do that, and there's a bunch of variations. You might have people do that, where you see people play more like this, where it feels more relaxed to them. For me, this feels like I have to push my pinky finger in to do that. So instead of doing that, I just have my pinky finger super relaxed and it stays up here. Like it's not pushing at all. And again, if you go back to this thing, when they do that, that's essentially where it's going to land. It's going to be one of those two spots usually. If you were to do the whole relaxation thing, it's going to land basically in this pocket, if not a little bit around. You'll never see, and I have yet to ever see this, when they do the relax thing, the stick land here. It never happens. So yeah, you'll never see that unless you have really long. I don't know. It might be different for people, but I have never seen someone do that naturally. So yeah, when they do that press, you're gonna have either the pinky finger basically stay where it is, or any version of that. The other thing you'll see people do is of course, the normal closed first finger thumb. And I have a lot of not have. I've seen a lot of people have that grip, and this position worked for them, or any other version. I feel like for it to feel good in the first finger, it has to be this way. So you'll see this more often. Um, and that usually means there's a little bit of tension right at that nub, or at least a little extra stability that they might want. Um, for the way I play, the only stability I usually use is at the back of the thumb. Uh, that part, the base. I usually don't use any pressure up here unless I absolutely have to. It all comes from the back. And the same thing I talk about with other methods of movement and pathways of connection. Everything should come as far back as possible. Um, and then the way I relax my hand into the grip, I usually have a very open space. A lot of people, when they relax into a grip, it'll be a lot more closed, because they'll feel like they want that shelf at the first finger. Cool. And again, you're just looking for the most comfortable position to just let the stick sink into the hand. You don't want to have to hold the stick. That's the whole point of this concept of getting the stick in the hand, is to make sure you don't have to hold it. It could just sit there. Cool. And you could just move the wrist and it does whatever you want. Um, the other option you could do, if you're going for this kind of thing again, is to just like see what happens when it falls, so you can see where it lands on the first finger, and that's where you would put your thumb. Wherever you feel the most comfortable balancing, if you feel the most comfortable balancing there, some people we will see have more of a pinch. If it's not like that, it'll be a super open, I call it a beak. So you might see this kind of thing where they want to have that there. So the only way to accomplish that is to straighten out the first finger. So you'll see that a lot. So yeah, I mean, not saying you want to do that. I'm going for the most comfortable version. Um, yeah, so I would suggest, if you're playing around with and I suggest highly trying to play around with your fulcrum points and your grip in general. Like, where does it feel the most natural for the stick to balance on each finger? And wherever it is, that's the finger you want to connect with. Cool. One thing I will say too, if ever I'm teaching someone how to play drums for the first time, the one thing I make sure they do all the time and pay attention to is making sure that their thumb is in direct line with the stick. Okay? I don't care if they're playing in French grip, German grip, American, or something in between. The one part of the body has to be completely in line with the thing they're trying to connect with, or else you have like this junk thing where you're like how is that, what is that? Again, you want to like go for the most comfortable thing. And for me, I find the most success teaching people it this way, because it establishes in the beginning a connection with the stick, like a very what do you call it, a very defined connection with the stick. Once they get used to this, it can turn into whatever after. They could be this kind of mode, if they might feel the most connected here or whatever. But like starting off, you got to give them something defined, especially with the way I teach, because everything else is supposed to be just loose. The one thing they need to pay attention to is the connection in the thumb, and I make sure it's direct line. Cool. I might even say, I think I say that in the book too. Yeah, that is my basic concept about holding the stick. Um, and after that, in the book, I go through the different fulcrum points, how to flip back and forth between fulcrum points, what the different fulcrum points sound like, their uses. I don't say when to use because I don't really want to define when to use a certain fulcrum point. Um, but yeah, those are the basic concepts of how I actually approach holding the stick. Goes this, and then it goes for everything. Literally, how I hold everything. Like everything should be held with the least amount of tension, least amount of effort, and it should just feel like it's just sitting in your hand. The more it feels like that, the more it is connected to your physical body, which makes it more accessible to like what do you call it? To manipulate, to access, to move around. Um, like if you saw the timpani live stream where I was like leaning back and the sound wasn't really changing, or well, the one thing that definitely wasn't changing was the height. No matter where I was, I still had the same height of motion. I feel like the further back I get, the sound does tend to change. It's because I don't have the top weight, which means I have to change the weight in distribution to go to my arms. Which even though it still has a similar core sound, the attack is different because I have to, yeah, weight plus speed equals volume and more attack. So because yeah. um, any questions about that? Someone DM'd me on Instagram and they were like, "I've watched all of your things and you've never talked about this." And I'm like, I guess I haven't really, um, because again, I don't teach a specific way except for the thumb. That's the only thing I care about. But other than that, I don't teach a specific like thumb, first finger, middle finger goes here. This like I don't teach that because everybody's hand is different. Generally, you'll see thumb, first finger, and that's why that became a thing. And yes, it is a thing because when you do this, thumb, first finger's right there, boom. But you don't. I don't want to like define. Okay, thumb and first finger. No, thumb and everything else just is relating to the thumb. So you don't have to think, oh, I need to put my first finger here. It's just gonna be there. So that's why I don't. I agree, but I don't teach it that way because of that reason. Like it's gonna happen anyway, so you don't have to tell them. Cool. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, thanks, Mom. Hold on. So, one of the other things that you will notice is that if they really want to just control the stick, like if they really just want to hold the stick, you're going to see this a lot. Um, and what you'll even, which is it's bad for two reasons. But yeah, if they really want to like that usually means there's way too much attention to this. They need to relax. If they were to relax this up here, it's very difficult to keep this tense. The one thing they're probably going to feel is the thumb might relax, but the first finger still feels as tight as it did here, and that's one thing. So if they really just that's why I teach it this way, because if they do this, they're not going to do that. Cool. Um, so yeah, you're going to see this a lot. So if you see this, have them just go here. Like I would suggest the fist at the very least, because they're not going to do that there. There's no way that's going to happen. Okay, so fist, thumb. Okay, fist, Or the other option is to just like see what happens here. I don't like using that option because obviously the stick is going to go all the way down here. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to do it like some awkward way where it's like sideways. You can't just go here. It's going to do that. So yeah, I would just do thumb, and they can't do that if they're just there. Cool. Yeah. Um, then I mean, then you can always start going into like, do you do 2 point fulcrum or 3 point fulcrum? Uh, if you get the book, you'll know which fulcrum I use and which fulcrum I like, um, and also what I would think about that. Uh, so yeah, are there any questions about that specific to how I hold the stick and or anything related to holding the stick? Timpani is no different. For timpani, for me, the way I use it, I usually use it more in the front of my hand, so the pinky isn't always connected with the stick, depending on the situation, depending on the stick, and depending, yeah, basically that. Um, if I'm playing German style timpani mallets, I probably won't ever use pinky except for very specific situations and specific sounds I want to make. So you'll usually, I don't even have this mallet with me, but you'll usually see, if I mean, not that you need to see me play timpani, but it'll be very up in the hand, and the pinky will be there, but it probably won't be touching it. Uh, Gap, no gap. Second question is French grip. Gap or no gap, it really depends on the hand. If the relaxed grip for you, where you feel the most connected to the stick, is a gap, then it's a gap. I play. I I'm the guy who uses all of it. So for very specific situations, I am very closed. Very specific situations. The other thing is that the way I play, again, if the higher I go, the more closed the grip is going to be. So it's a fluid technique, which is why I wrote the book. Okay, so yeah. So I usually find myself the most comfortable, at least connecting my wrist with my arm in this position, which means it's going to have a gap. Cool. Um, for soft playing, it really depends. Sometimes if I want more articulation, it'll be. Oh, actually, if I want a fatter sound, it'll be more closed. If I want a more articulate sound, it'll be more open. $20 if anybody knows why. I wrote it in the, if anybody has the book, because I wrote the reason why you get a fatter sound in a closed. I mean, it's pretty. You don't even need to read the book to know why. You just need to like think about it for a second. But yeah, cool. I love talking about that. French grip, is it comfortable? Can you do all the stuff? I find that in French grip, rolls become very labored, and they become like a little more, not aggressive, more push, because the thumb is on top. There's nowhere for the stick to go, so it's gonna rebound aggressively against the thumb and then directly back onto the drum, which doesn't gives it more of a punchier sound. So if you like that kind of thing and it feels comfortable, then cool. One way to avoid that, um, what do you call it? That Prezi feel, is to redirect the energy and kind of do a scooping motion to cushion that. What the people in the West Coast have that kind of West Coast style roll where it's triple bounce and they kind of scoop a little bit. East Coast, I don't know why they decided this, but yeah, East Coast is a lot more direct and a little more pressed. I remember, the different halls needed different sounds, so that's the solutions they found for those specific big halls. Okay, TJ Lawhorn. Okay, so power, but define what power is. You're basically it's basically that's the basic answer, but you have to dissect what power is to get the actual answer. Um, do you turn them in like slightly Frenchism? So okay, wait. This is a good the I don't even know what my house looks like right now. Okay, so okay, it's not that much. Okay, um, in the book, I have people basically to relearn how to hold the stick. I have them lift their uh, forearms like a T Rex, and then basically you're like super loose, cool. So and then what we talked about, I have them raise the wrist. So where is my what is my grip? It's basically like not French, not German. In order to have a super relaxed nothing, if I do nothing at all, then it turns into an American grip, like you're driving a car. Cool? Or playing a video game. Cool? If I do anything, in order to go into French grip, I have to do something. In order to go into German grip, I have to do something. If I do nothing, it's basically there. So that should answer that question. And yes, I just explained it here, but in the book, there's like laying down, sitting, standing away from a thing, shoulder, neck. There's like a bunch of steps before that you have to do to make this a lot easier. Um, let's see, more energy transferring to the wrist. Okay, so I'm gonna say the vibrations go through your hand instead of resonating through the stick, making the apparatus bigger. Okay, so Matthew and TJ both together have the answer. Basically, what happens is that the more weight attached to the stick, the more core sound you're gonna get. Cool. So if there's no separation, you're gonna get a bigger apparatus that Matthew said, which gets more energy transferring from the wrist to the head. If there's a buffer point or buffer, whatever, I didn't say it this way in the book. I used a different word for a very good reason. Then the energy passes through that, making it a little lighter instead of having a heavier sound. There are other ways to do that without doing the closed open thing. There are a lot of ways. So I go through those ways in the book. They are sold out for right now. I can't say why yet, but I'm excited. Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions about that? Let me make sure I didn't. Air hug, mom. What if I don't have a thumb? Oh, somebody asked me this yesterday. So the one thing that other than so it's okay, there has to be one constant, especially in the beginning. So if someone doesn't have a thumb, they need something to be their one constant. So we all play this way for some stupid reason. We've all done this at some point. Basically, that becomes it's basically the same concept of traditional grip, where the pocket becomes the fulcrum. Cool. In these cases, the person who doesn't have a thumb will probably be thinking more the base of the first finger as their makeshift thumb, and either the middle of the first digit or the actual pocket is their first finger, their index finger. Cool. You didn't see that. In these cases, the pinky's going to be the most important thing, because this is, well, depending on what the situation is, this is a little bit weak. the two spots, according to a couple of drummers that I talked to, which I agree in a lot of ways. There's two spots that are the closest to the wrist. So your thumb and your pinky. While your pinky alone, if you're just doing this, is weak, like it can't do this for a long time because it's also shared by the ring finger. But the back here, that muscle is the other closest thing. Cool. So as long as you have something that's really connected to the wrist, the closest thing you got, that's going to be really helpful for them. They're probably going to even play more in French grip. It also depends on. Um, the other thing I would suggest if they don't have a digit is to get a shorter stick, because obviously the reach of the hand is going to be shorter, slightly. Um, if you can think about like how much stick from the tip of the thumb, basically, because that's the one that's connected to the wrist. Remember, so how much space from there? So you're gonna need a shorter stick to make it a little easier for them, or they'll have to choke up on the stick or something like that. I actually took that question pretty seriously because I want everybody to play it. Let's see, play through every finger and use that as my argument. As why yeah, technique is a lie. Technique is it's just what Jojo Bayer says is like a codified way of being a person or being somebody else. Because everybody's technique is going to have similarities, but they're not going to be exactly the same. There's going to be a lot of common things you see, but yeah, a lot of teachers used to say that's bad for wrist. What was bad for wrist? Oh, like open or close, uh, having it, or playing French grip. Playing French grip, you're not using your wrist at all, really. You're just using the radius on the turn. The wrist should be pretty loose and not doing much, if you're in French grip. Uh, okay, Sister Strange. Wow, who knew? Shaking my head. Let's see. See, I play through every finger and use that. Yeah, I read that already. Got to do those finger exercises. Yes, I used to. I actually use tape and no fingers to show how possible to. Dude, yeah, man. Because at that point, you're just like playing with. You're just bouncing a ball at that point. You're just playing. Vanoy. Hi! Um, oh yeah, I do the same thing if I have people play just with the old school military thing. Like the whole wrist, the whole hand is the fulcrum. Tis possible. Um, choking on the sticks. Yeah, only specifically for that situation. I mean, what you will find, I will say, I don't choke up on the sticks, but for specific things, if I'm playing like a super soft thing, and the sticks move a certain way when playing soft, to mitigate that, if I need uh, less rebound and a lighter weight, then I'll choke up a little bit. If I need more weight, I usually don't go back. If I need a little less weight, that's when I go up. I don't usually go any further back because I really like the flexibility, the rebound response, and sound of that sweet spot that we all talk about where the fulcrum goes. Cool. And then again, the way my hand is, it's in a 3-point fulcrum, so moving up a little bit really won't change as a lot of the other things. Will your book be available soon? I need it. Yeah, it will be. Uh, yeah, mess. Yeah, it will be. I have to. I'll make an announcement about it when I get the go ahead. But it will be available soon. I am almost done. I keep saying this. I'm almost done with book 2 and 3. I feel like, and I always say this too. I feel like 3 is gonna come out before 2. I need to start working on it again because I got sidetracked with some other things. Um, but yeah, it is crazy. Book two. It is very crazy. Um, yeah. Uh, any other questions? Oh, hey, yeah. If anybody, I don't know if you guys know, I do have a Patreon because like people have Patreons. See, I've been giving my patrons monthly regimens to practice, and they've been things that I did in college that really like amped my playing up to where I wasn't advancing, and then like junior year, not junior year, sophomore year, I started getting into festivals, and then started advancing in auditions after that. Um, cool. So Patreon. Uh, it's called. Let's see. Can I text in here? I can. Um, so actually, if you go to my website drummojo.com, the link to the Patreon will be there. If you don't have to sign up, but yeah. This month's regimen was xylophone exercises. For the last has it been 5 months? 4 months? I can't remember. Yeah, I've been doing more snare drum and basic technique things. Cool. Matthew, okay. Um, for that, please message me on Facebook and or Instagram. Uh, Long answer short, no, it has not been uploaded. Much respect. Oh, thanks. Um, yeah, any other questions about hand technique or grip? Because I never talk about it because I don't like talking about it because I don't want to like be like this is the way to do it. Even though I'm like, please have your thumb on the stick. Because we can't do all the cool stuff without a bass. So that's that's a good quote. I'll put that in my quote book. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, requests? I guess I could actually sit on the couch now. Oh. Let's see, how much battery do I have? Okay. Yeah. We good? Is that good? Everybody okay? If there are no questions, can I go to bed? No, it's still like 8. Oh, I posted a blog about listening. Yeah. Watch if you like. Did you explain American Grip? Oh, like American Grip is basically, they say it's half between German and French. So it's like there. I don't like teaching that because that's what I do. Um, but yeah, essentially, like I said before with the whole T-Rex thing, if you raise your wrist naturally without doing anything, it's going to be an American Grip. I've never seen it when I teach people and I go through all like 8 steps before that point. I have never seen anyone do like straight up and down or straight this way. I have never seen it. Even before I like started really teaching that as a method, when I was experimenting, there was no way someone could just like if their hand was relaxed, their forearm just comes up, it's gonna come up like that because like you know, and then if you come out like if you're coming out like this, that means you're doing something here. Cool. And then if they figure okay, actually this is good. Okay. Because I'm about to show you why it can't happen if they're completely relaxed. Okay. So, if you're and this is crooked. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, if if they're doing something in the shoulder, that's what comes out. Cool. If they relax the muscle of the shoulder, it's gonna come back here, and it also relax the this. I can't remember what muscle this is. Okay. All right. Then, if they're doing this part, but you have this kind of thing, that means they're interacting with their elbow too much, which means they're like actively pulling it. If they release that, because it's supposed to feel like it's going that direction, cool, which is why you see this a lot, because they just go with that feel and they feel like, oh, I need to keep it this way. Like, no, it's just where the weight's being directed. Cool. If this is all here first, just dangle, and you keep this part dangled and only focus on the elbow, then they're going to cross. Cool. In order to get into a plank position, you have to that's the first thing you got to do. If you're just like that. Cool. That's what's going to happen. Then obviously you pull your, pull it back or whatever in order to get, cool. Like if there's no way that's going to happen. Like I know it looked like this is what happens. It looks like that, and then they do that. That means they're holding there and a little bit up here. If they don't, the thumbs are going to be here. They're not going to be there. So cool. Let's see. I explained American Grip. Ow. I'm at a point where I don't know what to ask. I could ask about a specific grip, going through white knuckle stroll. Okay. White knuckle stroll has to be super loose in the front, all wrists, a little bit of finger in the back or front, depending on what you want to do, just to keep the thing bouncing. Let's see. I think Casey used rubber mallets, so that helps. Don't play loud, just glide. I told somebody yesterday from Chile, Chile? I don't know. That you're just like dancing with the weight. Basically, you're just kind of gliding on it's kind of like what they want to make hoverboards out of with the magnetic pole, so you have that magnetic field in between. That's essentially what you're trying to like utilize and glide over, and just kind of ride the wave of weight, ride the weight wave. Maybe I'll make that in a shirt or something. Ride the weight wave. I don't think I'll ever have shirts. No merch except for the book. Yeah. Any other questions on hand stuff? So yeah, that's what I do. That's what I teach. Um, yeah, the way I was taught thumb first finger was the one and only like demand. Of course, if they started getting into this kind of thing, then they were like, "Hey, your hand position." I learned the importance of warming up with it. I try to rep without warming up. Left hand C. Yeah, yeah. What I always use my warm ups to let go of the stick, not to get control. Feel. Oh, actually, that's a good warm. Yeah, warming up, man, is about getting to know what the stick wants or what the instrument wants, not like getting control. That's what practice is for. Like you can learn how to like convince things to do whatever. Okay. What do you think about in your hands when you buzz? Okay, so this is that's going to be in the second book because I do some like I do very specific weird things. I don't even know if it's weird. My old teacher does it. Um, so it depends on the sound. If I want a fatter sound, I think more about just more forearm, just letting the that kind of thing go. If I'm thinking more like super thin, then I'm thinking more wrist and finger. Um, Again, super light, general, heavy, going ham. Your different gears. Uh, and then I'm thinking about just create like I think about it as like a timpani roll too. Just not trying to make any initial like zzz, 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 zzz. You're just trying to go for that kind of thing. So I never think about anymore. I don't think about the individual strokes. I think about the strokes coming in and blending in and out of each other. So it's more like a if you remember seeing one of those old steam trains, you see one wheel, another wheel, but the thing in the middle just looks like that. So that's the kind of thing I think about. I've never used that metaphor, that image before. I keep noticing that I'm using more like unique images for specific questions. I never use the same image twice for the same two people. Like it's always different. Any third finger fulcrum. Um, I absolutely love for my general playing. Do you mean actual third finger fulcrum or third finger fulcrum? Uh, this is my favorite for general playing. This is my favorite for saw playing. This is my favorite for like Shostakovich, like all that. Um, this is my favorite for timpani, with that. If you know, yeah, if you read the book, you know how to do it. Um, Pinky fulcrum is weird. But it really comes in handy for soft playing though. If you're into that kind of thing. If I'm really nervous, then I switch to my uh, pinky fulcrum, depending on the situation. If I need a diddle, it's going to be a little difficult, but it's possible. Um, cool. Any others? It is 9:30. Or no, that's it's 9:33 in Chicago, not here. um, Anything else? Are we good? I'm stealing the train thing. Yeah, dude, take it. Take it. It's yours. Troy, I think. Is that Brad Pitt? Yes? I don't know. Love that movie. Let's see. Anything else about that? I think that's it. That's my hand technique spiel. Um, it's yeah. I mean I do the same thing with all people's grips on all instruments. Um, the more you can just let it sit in the hand, the easier it is to feel connected instead of feeling like you're holding something. It's like this is just a part of you now. This is a part of you now. This is an extension of you. Cool. And as drummers, we're like uh, when we specifically when we're playing mallet instruments or something where we have to hold a stick to hit the thing, we don't have a direct relation or physical touch to the instrument. So the more you can feel like, oh, this is an extension of yourself, then you're like actually connected. That's more of a philosophical thing, though. Um, but yeah, I can't. That book is going to be. I don't know how people are going to take that book. Book number whatever at this point, 19. Originally, it's supposed to be book 10. Then it turned to book 9. I think it's going to be book 8 now. When I'm like 46 or something, I feel like I'll get a handle of it by then. Plus, have the time. um, what was that? 16 years or something? 46. 18 years. Math. Um, cool. Any others? If not, I know there's a delay, so I'll wait a little bit. If not, I might make some tea or something and finish watching my YouTubes and work. I'm just what do you call it? Updating my website. So I wanted to do a fresh live and then download this and then put it on the website again. I think I did all the other lives. I even put the practice videos up. I forgot I recorded myself practicing. They are long because I practice long. One is 2 hours and 18 minutes, and the other one's just an hour and 8 because I think I had rehearsal or something. But yeah, you can see how I work and how crazy, not crazy, but just how like you can clearly hear what I'm going for at all times. And if you think about why, like it could be helpful. That's why I put them up. Um, I put, I think one was where I was practicing timpani, and man, those drums needed a. Oof, it's like, oof, they need a clearing for really bad, because I was listening back today, and one section, the drum from the camera sounded super flat, but I remember like thinking the pitch is going down because where I was hitting where I hit it was in tune, but the pitch went down. So it's like, I don't know, timpani problems for old drums. I felt really bad because someone just had complimented my tuning, and then I hear that and I'm just like, don't watch this part. Oh, Jeremy Bronk, hi. John McCaslin. I should probably do this more often. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way back. Okay, people here: Jason, Jonathan Rickard, Matthew Goodman. So Jason Arkis or Arkis. My mom, Kim Jones, T.J. Lawhorn, Viola Bradford, Greg Abe. I said Matthew. Okay, Allison Bondi, Roland Dennis or Deans, Jared Gale. Hey, Jared, is that the same Jared Gale from Beasley? Maybe not. If it is, that's so cool. Richard Harding, Amber Jones, my sister, Sergio Araguin, Again. Will Richards. I think I said his name earlier. Kevin Haranhan? Hanrahan. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. My dad, Benoy. Chong. Oh, Chong. Hi, Chong. Zach Moore. Ty Niemeyer. Nehmeyer? Nehmeyer? Justin Hawk? Me. Gerson De La Rosa. Or Gerson De La Rosa? I'm sorry. Graham Viegut? 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 I'm sorry. Um, let's see. Marco. Telus Levy! Tap dance. Nice. John Corkle. Oops. Let's see. Rona May Arca? Oh, Zatali. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. It's been years. Are you going to the reunion? Cool. Stephen Moore, Kevin Hearn, Jeremy Davis, Jonathan McCann. Okay, great. We're good. I've done all the shout outs. Luckily, it's not like 100 people. Okay. If there are no more questions, then I'm going to have a slice of cake. It's gluten-free cake. Didn't even mean to buy that. It's cookies and cream. I figured I'd treat myself. It's been a long week. Chris O'Brien! I should start doing this. Just like people enter in like, let's get ready to announce whatever. Ali Akbar. Everybody remember Felicia from the launch? Hello. Hello. I'm weird. Cool. So, any last what you call it before I hit the hay, or hit the tray of cake first and then hit the hay. Might practice a little bit because I'm out here now. I guess I'm gonna practice. Okay. Yeah. I will see you guys later. Oh, Pat Chapman. Yeah, but thanks for checking out the hand grip thing. I will share this on Facebook, obviously, so people can rewatch it. Then I'll download it and put it on YouTube. 'Cause I haven't touched my YouTube channel in a while. I got to 1,500 subscribers. Yay! Thanks for subscribing. I need to do more live streams so I can post more things on YouTube. But yeah. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye. Say bye, Felicia. Okay. Bye.